Simultaneous equations homework. Right, we need to solve where y equals x squared minus 5x minus 7 and y equals x plus 9 meet. Right, so remember, because the top one is a quadratic and the bottom one's a straight line, these two will meet twice. And we need to find the points at which these two meet. So, first of all, to do this, we're going to set y equals x squared minus 5x minus 7 equal to y equals x plus 9. So that's our first step. So we should now, if we do that, we'll have x squared minus 5x minus 7 equal to x plus 9. Right. Now, what we need to do is, so that we can solve this, we need to factorise. So to do that, first of all, we need to get everything onto the same side. So, I always leave the x squared where it is, which is here. So, I'm going to move by subtracting from both sides x, the x over to the left hand side. So, minus x from both sides. So, I've got x squared minus 6x minus 7 equals 9. Now, finally, I need to subtract 9 from both sides. So I've got x squared minus 6x minus minus 16 equals 0. Now, we need to see if we can factorise this. Now remember, because we've got a minus value at the end, we're going to be looking for two numbers of times together to make minus 16. So if we're looking for a minus number multiplied together, we must have a positive and a negative in our brackets. Now, two numbers times together to make 16 are 1 and 16, 4 and 4, or 2 and 8. Now I'm going to start off with 2 and 8. So, remember, one's positive and one's negative. So, it can either be 8 minus 2, which is 6, if the 8 was a positive and the 2 was a negative, or it could be 2 minus 8, which gives us minus 6. And that's what we're after. We're after minus 6. So it's going to be positive 2 minus 6 equals 0. Now, what value makes this bracket equal to 0? Well, that is minus 2. And what value makes this equal to 0? Well, that's 6. So, next step. We now need to find out what the y values are, because we've got the x part, so we're going to substitute both of these two values into our original y equals x plus 9. So, sub x equals minus 2 into y equals x plus 9, and do the same with x equals 6. So, let's look at the minus 2 side first. So, where the x's were put in minus 2, so y equals minus 2 plus 9, which is equal to minus 7. So the first coordinate is minus 2, minus 7, and the second one, y equals 6 plus 9, so that's equals 15. So the second coordinate is 6, 15. Now remember, we could check these two solutions by trying them in the other equation. Right, that's the first two questions on your homework. The last question involves this second example. So, the second example, solve x squared plus y squared equals 25. So we want to find out when that intersects with y equals x minus 1. Now remember, x squared plus y squared is a circle, and this is going to be intersected by the other line. There's going to be 2 points. The second question, we remember, it's going to intersect twice, like the first one, there and there. So, this time instead of setting them equal to each other, we're going to substitute sub y equals x minus 1 in place of y squared. So, into x squared plus y squared equals 25. So, where y is, we're going to put x minus 1. So we're going to have x squared plus, in brackets, x minus 1 all squared equals 25. Now, remember, x minus 1 squared means x minus 1 times x minus 1. So, x minus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. So, x minus 1 x squared. Let's expand the bracket first. So, we're going to have x times x, which is x squared. We're going to have x times minus 1, which is minus x. Minus 1 times x, which is minus x. And minus 1 times minus 1, which is 1. And that's equal to 25. Now, let's just tidy this up by collecting together like terms. So, x squared and x squared is 2x squared. Minus x and minus x is minus 2x plus 1 equals 25. Now, yet again, as we did before, we want to be able to solve this, and the only way to do that is to factorise it. So we need to make this equation equal to 0 by subtracting 25 from both sides. So, 2x squared minus 2x minus 24 is equal to 0. Now, you may notice at this stage that each of these terms divides by 2. So a good tip here is to divide through by 2. So divide everything by 2, so you get x squared minus x minus 12 is equal to 0. Now we can factorise this. Now remember, because it's minus 12, we're going to have a positive and a negative in the bracket. So we need two numbers that times together to make 12, which could be 2 and 6, 3 and 4, or 1 and 12. Remember, we're also got to make with these two numbers minus 1. So 6 and 2, well, that would be minus 4 or plus 4. 12 and 1, that would be 11 or minus 11. And 4 and 3, well, that would be 1 or minus 1. So it must be 3 take away 4. So the positive is 3 and the negative is 4. Now what value makes each of these two brackets 0? Well, the first one is minus 3 and the second one is 4. So as before, now we've got our x components, so we need to find our y components. So we're going to sub x equals minus 3 into y equals x minus 1, and we're going to do the same but with 4. So sub x equals 4 into y equals x minus 1. So this first one, minus 3 minus 1 is minus 4, so the coordinate is minus 3 minus 4, and the second one, y equals 4 minus 1, y equals 3, so it's 4 and 3. Okay, and that should help you answer your homework for this week.